Good morning. Today during advisory, we're going to be talking about student-led conferences. In years past, around this time, teachers would be preparing for parent-teacher conferences. At Manhattan High School, we're making a major change where students are going to be running their own conference with their parent and their advisor. Hopefully, many of your questions will be answered today. We're going to go over some of them, like what have parent-teacher conferences looked like in the past? What will a student-led conference look like? Can you use a cheat sheet for a script to help guide you through the conferences? And will you have help preparing for your conference? What's the schedule for a student-led conference going to look like, and where will it be? And at the very end, we're going to talk about some upcoming important dates. We'll talk about now the problems with the structure of our current conferences. Our parent attendance rate and past parent-teacher conferences have only been between 40 and 50%. You can see on the chart to the right, it goes back to fall of 2013. Also, parents and students rarely participate together. We traditionally never see students attending with their parent at parent-teacher conferences. And we believe in you, and we know that there's nobody that knows you better than you. Parents and students that we need to see usually don't attend. Also, conversations about grades, attendance, post-secondary aspirations are not always happening between students and parents at home. Our goal for student-led conferences is at 80%. This is a rate that we've seen in area schools that have adopted student-led conferences. So what's a student-led conference going to look like? All conferences are going to be held at the West Campus, 9 through 12. East Campus teachers will be set up throughout the Commons area and the cafeteria. West Campus teachers will be in their room, and there's going to be some adjustments made for teachers that share rooms or are physical education and health teachers. They'll be located in the North Gym. Students, here's the biggest change to the conferences. You are actually going to lead them. This is what you're going to need to help prepare you for the conferences. You're going to be using your iPlan. This is going to be information that you're going to gather from Naviance and also your advisory lessons. You're also going to have your grade report and your attendance report. For these upcoming fall conferences, you're actually going to get these along with your parents as you enter into the building. And advisors, they'll have a copy of these progress reports and attendance reports and your iPlan in your student's advisory folder. We're also going to have a script for you. This script will help guide you, keep you on task, and make sure that the conferences are done within the 10-minute time period. Here's a representation of what your individual plan of study or your iPlan is going to look like before you fill it out. Underneath your name, you'll see your strengths, which is your Naviance Strength Explorer, your career interest profiler, and your 3 Naviance Holland codes. For new students to Manhattan High School, you may not have had the time to log into Naviance and complete these 2. And for freshmen, you will not have the career interest profiler filled out yet. We're going to work on this in the near future in preparation for spring conferences. On the back side of your iPlan, we want you to use this as a resource. You're going to have the Strength Explorer, all the theme descriptions listed along with the definitions, and then the 6 Naviance Holland codes along also along with the definitions. Below those 2 things is my career goal and plan as of today. Let's focus on that phrase, as of today. Everybody at Manhattan High School, you have permission to change this. Whatever your plan as of today, we do want that to be supported by what your strengths are and what your interests are. And that's why, as your interests change, so may your goal and your plan. Underneath that, you'll see post-secondary plan after high school. Again, your post-secondary plan should be supported by your strength, your career interest, and your career goal, all working together. We have, as a reference, your Manhattan High School graduation requirements. And below that is an area that you're going to put down the classes that you're currently in. And in the springtime, this becomes more important because we're going to be putting down the classes that you want to take the following year. Again, everything working together for your post-secondary plan based off of what your career goal and plan as of today, along with your career interest and your strengths. Here's an example of how a progress report is laid out. You'll see that we have an area for absences, tardies, and then below that, the area for in-progress grades. Grades will be listed to the right. Courses will not appear in scheduled order, so you're going to be needing to look for your teacher and what teacher corresponds with what grade, or what teacher corresponds with what absence or tardy. These have traditionally only been provided to the parents as they entered into the conferences, but we're going to be providing these to you during advisory, so you could use them to practice leading up to that Wednesday night and Thursday night student-led conference. Here's a script that's going to guide you through your conferences. Also, during practice leading up to your conferences. It's not finalized yet, but this is a pretty good representation of what it's going to look like. It's going to be divided into 3 areas: introduction, your actual conference, and then a conclusion. During your introduction, make sure that you introduce your parents to your advisor, and also thank both of them for being there. For the conferences, you'll go right into sharing the I plan with your parents. You'll begin with your Navient Strength Explorer, your career interests, and freshmen, remember, you won't have this until your spring semester. Then you'll talk about your career goal and plan as of today. Talk about your post-secondary plan that supports your career goals. And then if you're ready this fall, you could begin talking about classes that you want to take for next school year, even in college. Then you'll talk about the progress report. You'll talk about each class, the grade that you have, and if there's anything that you could do different or better to increase the grade that you may have. You'll continue with that format and talk about all the remaining 6 of your classes. Next, you're going to share your attendance report. You'll talk about tardies or absences that you have or may have. And then if you need to show your parents the absence and tardy policies, we'll have a planner there for you if you need to go and refer to that. You can talk about highs and lows from the beginning of the school year, and questions like, it's easiest to be successful in, or it takes more work to be successful in. And then finally, if you have time, we want you to talk about your goal for the school year. Then you're going to give your parents an option or the opportunity if they have any questions or comments. And then at the spring conference, remind them that you're going to be talking about classes that they're going to be taking for next year. And you're going to thank them for coming and listening. Do you feel like you're needing some help to prepare for these student-led conferences? We're actually all feeling that. This is a major change on how we run our conferences, but that's what the advisory is for. We're going to help you gather some of these materials. Some of them we're just going to have for you, but other things we're going to be there to help you, but you're still going to have to fill it out. We're going to have the 1819 course subscription book for you, and that just in case you want to look for classes for future planning or classes that you may want to take for the spring, or changes, or just questions about classes that you're currently taking. We're also going to have a planner on page 10 for attendance and page 33 for tardies, in case you have some attendance or tardy issues that you need to explain to your parents. And make sure you have your Naviance login. We'll have a copy of your I-Plan with your strength, theme description, and Naviance calling codes on the back. And that's going to be your responsibility, with help from your advisor, to help fill that out. So now let's talk about scheduling your student-led conferences. We encourage you to schedule early, especially a time that works good for your parent and you. So we need you to communicate with your parent what time works for them. You'll see on the left-hand side of the chart, that's our Wednesday conferences on September 19th, and on the right, the Thursday conferences on September 20th. The first selection begins at 4:30. The times are listed as the beginning times, and they last 10 minutes. So this gray area is our first option. We're only wanting to schedule student-led conferences in the gray areas, and we have 18 choices to choose from, or 18 different time options. The areas that are not in shaded, those areas we're trying to reserve for students or parents that want to go talk to their other teachers in the classes that they're taking. If you're unable to schedule a time with your parent or guardian to come in for student-led conferences, we still want you to have this opportunity. Talk with your grade level principal, talk with your counselor, talk with somebody that's important to you in your life, a mentor. Share that person's name with your advisor and schedule that time with them. We just got done introducing you to student-led conferences. And a week from now, you'll be preparing for these conferences. You'll be accessing Naviance and filling out your I-Plan or your individual plan of study. The week after that, on September 19th, during advisory, you'll be practicing student-led conferences. You'll have the script, you'll have your I-plan, and your progress report. That evening, beginning at 4:30 on Wednesday, September 19th, we'll have our first evening of student-led conferences, followed by Thursday, September 20th at 4:30 will be our final evening. Don't forget, Friday, September 21st, you have that day off from school. We realize that this is not going to be perfect, especially the first time doing student-led conferences, but we do feel very strongly that it's going to be better. We feel it's going to be better because student-led conferences are going to be completely about you. It's going to be about your strengths, it's going to be about your career interests, and it's going to be about your career goals and plans as of today.